7 books, and she also happens to be blind.
At the age of 15, Jennifer lost her sight due to a rare eye disease, but she didn't let her blindness stop her from empowering others to live beyond their limits.
We're going to meet Jennifer in a moment, but first, here's more of her story.
Blindness is not something I was born with. When I was a little girl, I could see just fine. But when I entered middle school, things began to change. I became a little more clumsy. My math grades began to plummet. I didn't realize it was because I couldn't see the numbers on the chalkboard. One night I was walking with my mom to a friend's upstairs apartment. I was tripping up those stairs, and my mom stopped and asked, "Jennifer, can you not see the stairs?" And my response was just as surprised. "What do you mean, Mom? You can see the stairs?" And within a few days, I was diagnosed at an eye hospital with a disease called retinitis pigmentosa. It's a degenerative disease in both of my eyes, in my retinas, and it's caused the retinas to deteriorate, and that meant the prognosis was total blindness. I remember driving home from that eye hospital and feeling my fingertips and wondering if I was going to have to read Braille and how I would finish high school. What started as legal blindness quickly became darker and darker until, over a period of years, all the light I once saw was replaced with darkness. But within the loss, I've received so much. Blindness has introduced me to myself. I've learned that I can't change blindness, but I can change my perspective. And when my eyes are grateful, I really can see goodness and grace. I've learned that blindness does not define me, but it has truly refined me, and it still does.
How much do we love Jennifer?
I love that when my eyes are grateful. What a lovely way
Jennifer,
to put it.
welcome.
Thank you. I love being here. Thank
Now,
you.
you're spreading your message across the country, and you do write about it in your new book. It's called Invisible. How you feel is not who you are. What a beautiful title, too, for that book.
Well, don't women feel invisible? I mean, we all do.
You forget, too, especially.
Yeah. You don't have to be blind to not be able to see who you are.
15, when you were first diagnosed, that's a tough time for young girls anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Was there a time when you were sort of mad at the world, mad at God because of it? It just seemed so unfair?
I think I had such a forward perspective, thanks to just my parents' influence and the influence of my faith, that my first response wasn't unfair or why me or being mad. It was, okay, here we go now, what are we going to do?
Okay.
And I'm grateful for that.
Yes.
I'm very grateful. It doesn't mean that people who do get frustrated, there's something wrong with them.
It's a natural thing.
Exactly.
I know you were saying early on that you knew it was going to get darker and darker, you were afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
You were afraid of what you weren't going to be able to see. But that all changed for you. Will you describe how that changed?
Well, I think for me, I had always had faith. And when blindness came into my life, suddenly it became this classroom, this testing place for me to discover that everything I really had believed was true. And so there's a light that comes from believing in something bigger than yourself, that's beyond yourself, that's more eternal. And that kind of light really, because of my relationship with God, gave me a light in that darkness, a reason to have hope. And so that really, what could have been a loss, what people would dread, really ushered in for me the life I've dreamed of.
So because you couldn't be independent, you had to become dependent, really, right?
Yeah, and that's
a great thing. Yeah.
People are healthier when they depend on each other. Yeah.
I'm just looking at you. I'm in awe of you. I am. I really am. You just have a maturity and just a radiance about you that most seeing people, many seeing people don't come near.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say you're beautiful. You have a beautiful husband. You have beautiful children.
She calls him her boyfriend.
I like that. That's my favorite part.
30 years.
You're both here. Now, when you finding each other, having a family, did you think that was going to be in the cards for you? No.
No, I honestly thought, who's going to want to marry a blind woman, right? Because I thought, that my husband-to-be, if I got one, would want someone who could support him and help and cook and drive carpools. And, he's the one who had to iron my clothes. And
he put you together beautifully. Excellent taste, boyfriend.
He's taken. But here's the thing. The reason I wrote Invisible is because, just like I felt when I thought, am I going to get a husband? Are boys going to want to date me? All that. Women feel that way for altogether different reasons. But it's it's universal as women that we deal with that kind of insecurity and lack of confidence.
So what advice, because there are women obviously who have insecurities and they worry about things like that. What advice does your book help them with? What is it?
Well, I help women understand that insecurity is not based on something that's out there or the way that other woman looks or how successful that other woman that you're competing against might be. Insecurity is based on a belief about yourself.
Yeah.
It's based on this idea that I lack something.
Yeah.
And so what I help the reader understand in Invisible is you lack nothing. And here's why. You, L-A-C-K, you are loved.
Yeah.
You are accepted. You are complete, and you are known. Even if no one else ever communicates that to you, that's who you are. So there's no reason to be insecure.
I love what you said. Blindness doesn't define me. It has refined
And
me.
it has.
We love you.
You come back and just anytime.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer.
God bless you.
A daughter hears her late mother's voice. Squire Rushnell's latest gospel.
And that's coming up right after this. Oh, please don't leave. Don't leave.